This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease, California's top one-stop legal marijuana delivery service. Do not trust your legal marijuana delivery dollars to just any delivery service. California is a patchwork of different rules and regulations for marijuana delivery, with some places allowing for full-blown adult use delivery with very few restrictions, while other localities are taking things more slowly by restricting delivery entirely. And in between, there are countless variations. In these early days of legal adult use California cannabis, you want to shop with only the best, most in-compliant companies around. You get that and more when you shop with Ease. They put a lot of resources into encoding all the different rules for delivery found around California right into their system, which means you're always fully in compliant with state law when you order through ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E, ease.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, February 19th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 434 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day and the week swings us out west to California, where the city of Los Angeles is dealing with the severely understaffed Department of Cannabis Regulation, tasked with overseeing a market with roughly the same number of people that live in Colorado, with a staff of 3. You heard that right. The Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation, which controls dispensaries in the city of Los Angeles, has a total of 3 full-time staffers in charge of overseeing the issuing of business licensing and ensuring compliance. Recently, the department's chief, Kat Packer, made a request to increase staffing with 21 new hires, something LA City Council President Herb Wesson spoke out in favor of on Friday. This is a good one to start your Monday off with a full dive in. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Leaping over the country back up to my neck of the woods here in Maine, we have an update to the story of Maine state lawmakers trying to hack their way to a compromise bill to implement the adult use sales program approved by voters back in November 2016. Regular listeners should remember that a legislative committee worked for most of last year on crafting an imperfect but good enough set of rules for adult use sales, only to have the process scuttled by our obstructionist Governor Paul LePage, who's yet to meet a progressive idea he doesn't reflectively dismiss. The Portland Press Herald does a good update to the story with a new proposal on the table to cut in half the number of plants allowed in home grow situations for adults of age. The ballot measure passed in 2016 calls for 6 plants per adult with a max of 4 adults per household, but a new plan would chop that to just 3. We'll keep an eye on this one for sure. Our final top story this week is the licensing snafu unrolling in Ohio, where late last week, State Department of Commerce Director Jacqueline Williams sent a letter to State Auditor David Yost offering to halt the process of opening up a medical marijuana system while a number of problems are looked at and solved, with one of the most top of mind being the recent mix-up over the issuing of cultivation licenses. It was recently revealed that one of the companies applying to grow legal Ohio medical marijuana was improperly denied a license due to a mistake made in the scoring process. All 24 legislatively approved cultivation licenses have already been awarded, and state officials say they won't be booting any of those 24, so it's injected a lot of uncertainty into the state. In referencing a breakdown in internal controls over a process, Williams wrote, quote, "Because of this critical flaw in the procedure's design, neither this office nor the public can rely on the cultivator application score results," unquote. Obviously, another story we'll be tracking closely. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease, California's top one-stop legal marijuana delivery service. Ease only partners up with the top dispensaries in their active areas, so if you're lucky enough to live where they do business, you have instant access to a wide variety of quality legal marijuana products at great prices over at ease.com. After choosing your products, Ease's partner dispensaries will quickly dispatch a driver to deliver your selections right to your door. It's about as easy as it gets. And as I've mentioned lots before, Ease has encoded the entire state of California's different rule sets for legal cannabis delivery right into their system. So you know you're always in compliance with state law when you fire up ease.com, which is spelled E-A-Z-E. ease.com. And don't forget to swing over to ease.com/blog to read their 2017 State of Cannabis Data Report and for lots of other useful bits of industry information, knowledge, and wisdom. That's ease.com/blog. All right, time for the Blitz. Leafly picked up on the story of a crackdown in California on unlicensed marijuana businesses by the State Bureau of Cannabis Control. Thankfully, in this new era of adult use legalization, this is the kind of crackdown that starts in the form of a very sternly worded letter to shut down operations. California Bureau of Cannabis Control Communications Director Alex Traverso told Leafly on Friday, quote, "We've sent out several hundred of these letters in just the past couple of days. Much like we've been visiting licensees and doing compliance checks focused on education, these letters represent the first step in the Bureau's efforts against unlicensed operators." Unquote. You can pop over to Leafly for the full story and to see a copy of the letter sent out to unlicensed stores yourself. Our buddy Tom Angel over Marijuana Moment spotted some cannabis-related comments made by Massachusetts Congressman Joe Kennedy III, who I've reported on recently for his prohibitionary leanings, despite being a young up-and-comer within the Democratic Party, which historically has been the more pot-friendly side of the political spectrum. As Tom's picked up, it sounds like Congressman Kennedy might be staging something of an evolution on the idea, saying in an interview with WGBH Boston that he's against any kind of large-scale attack on legal marijuana by federal law enforcement officials, even if he's still hesitant about both adult use legalization as well as even medical. The Canadian province of Alberta released details on Friday for how it plans to roll out adult use legalization later this year. Under the announced plans, the province could have as many as 250 licensed dispensaries, of which any one person or corporation would only be able to own at most 15% of. By way of comparison, the Calgary Herald is reporting that Oregon, which has about the same number of citizens as Alberta, has just over 500 licensed dispensaries. The Sacramento Bee spent a little time diving into the issue of unlicensed marijuana delivery services in California. As the Sac Bee has it, the state has only issued around 50 temporary delivery licenses, yet hundreds more delivery companies can be found on sites like Weed Maps. This is a fairly chaotic situation that's likely to pop up in other legal states, so not a bad one to open up, even if you're not a Golden Stater. Canadian medical marijuana giant Canopy Growth just got the green light by Health Canada to launch a new 1.3 million square foot cultivation facility in British Columbia. The project is just one of 8 large new cultivation facilities in the works for Canopy. As the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission winds down their initial work developing the implementation plans for introducing adult use legalization this summer, a pileup of critical voices has been raised in recent weeks against the bold progressive goals outlined by the 5-person commission, one of which I should disclose is my friend Shalene Title, who is also an on-hiatus regular on our weekly podcast, Marijuana Today. The Boston Herald has a story up about the latest critic, State Representative Mark J. Cusack, co-chair of the state's Legislative Joint Committee on Marijuana Policy, who wrote the committee last week urging it to dial back its ambitions, writing, quote, "There are certain sections and ideas with which I have grave concerns, particularly where legislative intent is disregarded and areas where it appears the law was even circumvented or just simply ignored," unquote. This is another good one to open up in full and certainly a storyline we'll watch closely. And finally for today, the Girl Scouts of Colorado have announced that from now on, it will consider legal cannabis dispensaries to be the same as any other business when considering requests by Girl Scouts to set up shop to sell in front of. The storyline has popped up in the news recently with a California Girl Scout finding great success selling to cannabis consumers. That attention and the natural overlap of people buying marijuana and people buying tasty cookies brought the Girl Scouts of Colorado to clarify their policy. Prepare to see Girl Scouts set up in front of every mile-high state dispensary. I'm calling it. Also, I need some Thin Mints. Those are the headlines and the news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.